Here's a more sophisticated kind of Vauxhall Vivaro van. This improved version of this British-built, mid-sized Stellantis Group-shared third-generation design now looks sharper and gains a much more sophisticated cabin, while still delivering the practicality and value that loyal buyers like, all looked after by one of the largest and most experienced dealer networks in the business. It is, in short, a contender that potential buyers in this segment can't ignore. The third generation Vauxhall Vivaro is now a more sophisticated proposition, and here we're going to tell you why. Since the turn of the century, Vauxhall's Vivaro has been the main challenger to Ford in the mid-sized part of the LCV segment. This improved version of the third generation design aims to sharpen its proposition considerably. Now, the first two generations of Vivaro, launched respectively in 2001 and 2014, were designs shared with Renault and Nissan. But this Mark III model switched to a Stellantis Group EMP2 platform at its launch in 2019. That means it's basically the same product as a Peugeot Expert, a Citroen Dispatch, a Fiat Scudo or a Toyota Proace. In an effort to make this British-built Vivaro stand out from these close cousins and offer revitalised appeal against an all-new version of its arch-rival Ford's Transit Custom, Vauxhall introduced the range of mid-term updates in late 2023 that we're going to look at here, applicable to both combustion and electric models. So will it all be enough to retain segment sales leadership? Well, to find out, you're going to need the usual comprehensive car and driving road test. Not much has changed in terms of the engineering of this model, at least not with the diesel variants anyway. As before, there's a choice of two Stellantis Group Turbo D units, a 120 PS 1.5 and a 145 PS 2-litre power plant, the latter available with the option of 8-speed automatic transmission if you don't want the standard 6-speed manual. Vauxhall also offers a rarely chosen 2-litre diesel unit with 180 PS, which must be had with auto transmission. The lower capacity unit is obviously slightly better for economy, the 1.5, but you'll have to work it harder with a heavy load on board, which will instantly cancel out that saving. Your more forward-thinking alternative, if your business can stretch to it, is the Vivaro Electric. This EV Vivaro has a 75 kilowatt-hour battery, providing a range WLTP rated at between 194 and 230 miles. For exclusive city use, those figures would rise to 195 to 314 miles. If you happen to run the 75 kilowatt-hour version of the pre-facelift Vivaro EV, Vauxhall reckons that this one will go around 12 miles further. The feeble, smaller 50 kilowatt-hour battery, which only took this van 133 miles between charges, has now been ditched. As before, there's a 136 PS electric motor offering 217 Newton meters of torque, and there are three driving modes: normal, eco and power, with only the latter releasing the motor's full output. The Vivaro Electric has a regenerative braking system that can be adjusted through 3 recuperation levels using paddle shifters placed behind the steering wheel. Rest to 62 miles an hour takes 14.3 seconds en route to the very modest maximum of 81 miles an hour. Whatever Vivaro you choose, as before, there's a little bit of an issue with a slightly offset driving position, which also affects this model's Stellantis Group cousins, but refinement is good by LCV standards, as is ride quality thanks to load-sensitive shock absorbers and a so-called passive suspension system that adjusts springing and damping as required, depending on the road surface. Plus, this model feels quite manoeuvrable. Testers who'd found the sheer size of some other mid-sized LCVs in this segment a little daunting when dealing with narrow country lanes and squeezing through gaps in the traffic were, we found, much more easily able to acclimatise to a Vivaro. The bonnet's set quite high, but the nose has a squared off shape that we found during our testing program makes this Vauxhall easy to place in tight urban situations. There's a curb-to-curb turning circle of 12.4 metres. This isn't a new generation Vivaro, but Vauxhall wants you to think it is, hence the installation of the brand's more charismatic visor front end, now familiar from its other models. The visor panel extends seamlessly across the front, integrating with headlights that can now incorporate LED beams. The panel features the company's latest Griffin logo at its centre. As before, there are two body lengths, 4.98 metres and 5.33 metres, and a double cab variant with an extra row of seats, plus a platform cab serving as the basis for bespoke and specialist body types. There's also a Vivaro Life MPV model, which can carry up to 9, only now available as a full EV. At the back, the tail lights are mounted high up to help avoid potential costly parking knocks. The main design changes, though, as part of this update, lie inside. Where it's quite different from before, thanks to the fact that every Vivaro now features a 10-inch digital driver instrument display, complemented by a 10-inch central touchscreen featuring Apple CarPlay and Android Auto mirror screen smartphone mirroring that's now of the wireless sort. This central monitor uses an integrated Snapdragon cockpit platform from Qualcomm Technologies, enabling state-of-the-art graphics, multimedia features and computer vision capabilities. As part of redesigning the dashboard in order to take this bigger monitor, the designers have also taken the opportunity to enlarge the storage areas around the instrument panel and the center console. There's also this rather strangely redesigned horizontally themed steering wheel, which on this electric model now features brake regen paddle shifters. Let's drill down into the screen stuff a bit for you. This button to the right of the instrument display allows you to scroll through the panel's various provided layouts. All include a central digital speedo and, on this EV model, outer flanking battery charge and power meter readouts. But you can also introduce trip data and nav directions if you wish, or prioritise a drive assist graphic. Now, this central screen has two home screen options, which show various icons while prioritising your chosen audio setting. Swipe left and you can alternatively have a home screen prioritising customisable widget settings. We've got nav mapping and audio selection here. As usual with Stellantis screens, this one has an application drawer section with games on it. More than when we last looked at one of these monitors. There's now up to 11 different ones to play, which might while away the time with this EV version while you're charging up. Avoid bass trim, and this monitor incorporates the brand's useful dynamic surround vision system, which works via two cameras, one located above the rear doors and another under the passenger side exterior mirror. The images of the rear while driving and when activated by the indicator stalk of the side blind spot are displayed in the new high-definition digital rear-view mirror. Otherwise, things are much as before, which means quite a car-like seating position with plenty of seat and wheel adjustment. There's the option to heat the front seat and steering wheel, as here. As usual, in this class, a 3-person bench seat is fitted, and if you avoid base trim, there's a flex cargo bulkhead flap so that longer items can be pushed through from the cargo area. The middle part of the seat folds down to create a table with an elasticated strap. Most dashboard functions are on the central touchscreen, though the climate controls are separated out below. Cabin storage, that's a bit of a mixed bag. It's disappointing that you don't get an overhead shelf, and under-seat storage is a bit limited. This compartment under the middle seat would take hardly anything. Plus, the upper glove box isn't as big as it looks, and the lower passenger side open stowage area is compromised in size by a fuse box. Nor is the large dash top compartment lidded, so items placed in there will reflect onto the windscreen above. On the plus side, there are huge door bins with smaller storage trays in the doors above, plus you get a cup holder at either end of the dash top and ticket clips in the sun visors. There's a center console cubby below the two provided USB ports in the middle of the dash and a pen tray above the gear selector. At the time of this test in spring 2025, Vivaro pricing started at around £30,000, excluding VAT, for diesel versions, and this LCV is available in 3 trim levels: Prime, this Pro model, and Top GS, with a choice of 2 lengths: this L1 version, which is 4.98 metres long, and the lengthier L2, which measures in at 5.33 metres. This electric model comes only with a 75 kilowatt-hour battery, and as we filmed in spring 2025, before deduction of the available £5,000 government plug-in van grant, started from just under £38,000 after grant deduction excluding VAT, a saving of over £2,500 over the pre-facelift model. This battery version is also available in an MPV passenger carrying form, badged as the Vivaro Life Electric. Vauxhall continues to offer a platform chassis option for a variety of body types, and for panel van folk needing more seats, there's a double cab variant that features an innovative hinged steel mesh bulkhead that articulates forward when the second row seats are folded and not in use. There's still no high roof option. As you'd expect, these prices reflect the prevailing rate for the mid-sized van segment and are of course similar to those being charged by the 4 other badge-engineered versions of this same design, namely the Peugeot Expert, the Citroen Dispatch, the Fiat Scudo and the Toyota Proace. Also similarly priced are Ford's Transit Custom and the design badged either as a Renault Traffic or a Nissan Primastar, but you'll pay a little more for either the Volkswagen Transporter or the Mercedes Vito. Now, 3 Chinese models, the Horizon SV and the Maxus brands eDeliver 5 and eDeliver 7 models, also compete in this segment, with those vans only available as full EVs. If it's a Vivaro you've decided you want, then you're going to need to know about standard spec. As you'd expect, base Prime trim gives you only the basics, though that does now include a 10-inch colour digital instrument cluster and a 10-inch HD colour central touchscreen. The latter infotainment monitor comes complete with natural voice recognition, 4G connectivity and connection to the Vauxhall Connect app, which very usefully allows you to interact with your Vivaro via your smartphone while you're away from it. Other standard Prime spec features include rear parking sensors, cruise control with a speed limiter, sliding side doors on both sides, auto headlamps and wipers, air conditioning and a 6-way adjustable driver's seat with lumbar support and an armrest. Ideally, you'd stretch up to this Pro trim level, if only to get the useful flex cargo load-through bulkhead that comes included at this level. Pro trim also includes a centre seat backrest that folds flat to create a work surface, eco LED headlights, front fog lamps, power folding mirrors, front parking sensors, a digital rear view mirror, a 12-volt socket in the load area and an alarm. Plus you get a useful dynamic surround view VisioPart 180-degree camera system with close obstacle detection flank guards. That's a feature that prevents parking knocks. At Pro level, this Vivaro also looks quite a bit smarter, courtesy of larger 17-inch wheels with wheel trims and a painted finish for the bumpers, the mirror covers and the side mouldings. Top GS spec is really only for owner drivers wanting a sportier look. In addition to Pro features, it includes a GS body kit with front and rear spoilers, side skirts and a unique rear bumper, plus metallic paint and exclusive Y-spoke 18-inch alloy wheels. And you get dual zone climate control, a wireless phone charging mat, heat for the driver's seat and the steering wheel, keyless entry and side airbags. On to options across the Vivaro range. The 3 key Pro spec features, that's the flex cargo load-through bulkhead, the surround view camera system and the vehicle alarm, are all available at extra cost with base Prime trim. 17-inch alloy wheels are available, and we'd want a full-size spare wheel too, which also comes included in the Worksite pack, which additionally incorporates an under-engine protection plate and an increase in ground clearance to 175 millimetres. Now, to protect the load area, you can add a 9mm coated anti-slip wooden load floor with aluminium rails. As usual with this kind of van, you can add glazing to the bulkhead and the rear doors and replace the two-person front bench with a single seat. You might also want to look at a drive assist pack. We've actually got it fitted here, which bundles together adaptive cruise control and heat for the steering wheel and driver's seat. The latter two features also come as part of a winter pack, along with side and curtain airbags. Now, bear in mind that you can't fit the optional tow bar to this electric model, and on the subject of this EV version, if you'll be wanting to charge via a faster three-phase supply, remember that you'll need to find the £400 extra that Vauxhall requires for the 11 kilowatt three-phase onboard charger with its Mode 3 22 kilowatt cable. With this EV model, you can also talk to your dealer about a clever e-power takeoff unit feature, which allows the vehicle's traction battery to be used as a power source for other electrical devices. Bear in mind that with any Vivaro, unless you order the only standard colour, that's solid kaolin white, you'll be paying your dealer £650 to £750 extra for your company's chosen paint shade. We've got Mercury Grey here. On to safety kit. In all, 18 advanced driver assistance systems are fitted across the range, and there's lots fitted as standard. Even Prime versions now come as standard with an automatic braking system, lane keeping assist, driver attention alert, high beam assist and intelligent speed assist with excessive speed warning. Plus you can also have blind spot alert. There are twin front airbags with side bags optional, as we said, and there's tyre pressure monitoring too. Compared to the original Mark III Vivaro, nothing seems to have changed much once you open the twin rear doors out back. The load area is 2,512mm in length for this standard wheelbase L1 and 2,862mm for the long wheelbase L2, with 1,258mm of width between the wheel arches and a maximum height of 1,397mm floor to ceiling. Overall cargo capacity sees a minimum load volume of 5.3 cubic metres for this L1 and 6.1 cubic metres for the L2, and that expands to 5.8 and 6.6 cubic metres respectively when the flex cargo through load facility is used. That's standard if you avoid base spec trim. For reference, a rival Ford Transit Custom short wheelbase model offers 5.8 cubic metres of carriage capacity without the need for a load-through option, and it can be had with a higher roof too. Unlike with older generation Vivaros, with this Mark III design, there's still no high roof option of any kind with this Vauxhall. One reason that you might still want a Vivaro in diesel form relates to payload, and sure enough, the diesel model panel van's payload figures do look pretty decent, varying between 1,121 kilograms and as much as 1,384 kilograms, which is one of the highest figures in the sector. This electric model is still limited to a payload of around a tonne. Diesel model panel van gross vehicle weights, well, they vary between 2,830 kilograms and 3,100 kilograms. This test electric model has a gross vehicle weight of 3,100 kilograms. EV variant panel van gross vehicle weights start at 3,011 kilograms. The brake towing weight on the diesel is 2,000 kilograms for the 1.5 and 2,500 kilograms for the 2 litre. With this EV, the brake towing weight is limited to a tonne. Not all contenders in this segment provide a sliding side door on both sides of the vehicle, but this Vauxhall does. Its aperture is 1,241mm in height and 935mm in width. This remains a practical space, equipped with 2 dim lights and up to 6 tie-downs. Ideally, you'd want to add a ply lining kit to protect these exposed wheel arches from scrapes and knocks. Vauxhall would like to sell you a 9mm coated anti-slip wooden load floor with aluminium rails to protect the cargo area base. As for running costs, well, the 1.5 litre 120 PS diesel variant now returns up to 44.8 miles to the gallon on the WLTP combined cycle, with up to 164 grams per kilometre of CO2. The 2 litre diesel with 145 PS manages up to 38.7 mpg and up to 191 grams per kilometre as a manual, or up to 39.8 mpg and 186 grams per kilometre as an auto. Now, these figures should give you a decent range of around 600 miles from the 70 litre fuel tank. You'll need to keep the separate 22.5 litre AdBlue additive tank regularly topped up every few thousand miles, of course. The van's trip computer will tell you when to do it. Ignore those AdBlue warnings and eventually the van won't start. As we told you in our driving section, this electric model manages up to 230 miles on a charge in combined motoring, or up to 314 miles in city traffic. The centre screen has an energy section with a graphical statistics screen that allows you to monitor your frugality in miles per kilowatt hour over the last 30, 60 and 180 minutes. That energy section also has an energy flow graphic and a charging section. And in the screen's application drawer section, there's an e-coaching screen that gives you tips to improve efficiency, although some of them seem a bit obvious, like smooth acceleration limits energy consumption. If you're looking at this full battery version, you'll want to know that the 75 kilowatt hour battery can be DC recharged from 5 to 80% in 45 minutes at a 100 kilowatt public charging station. If you're AC charging, a 7.4 kilowatt wall box will need 11 hours 20 minutes for a full charge, which you can reduce to 7 hours 20 minutes if you pay Vauxhall Extra for an 11 kilowatt charger and connect to a 3-phase supply. Connected to a domestic socket, you'd need a yawning 36 hours 45 minutes for full battery replenishment. Both versions of this LCV are looked after by Vauxhall's Van Business Centres programme, which provides business hubs offering a complete range of extended servicing hours to better suit business customers. Service intervals are every 2 years or 25,000 miles for the 1.5 litre diesel. It's every 2 years or 30,000 miles for the 2 litre 145 PS diesel, or every 2 years or 32,000 miles for the diesel autos. It's all a bit behind the longer 36,000 mile service intervals that you'd get from a rival Ford Transit Custom though. This electric version needs an initial inspection at the end of the first year of ownership, or when you get to 12,500 miles. From then on, garage visits will be needed every 2 years or 25,000 miles. The standard vehicle warranty is only the usual unremarkable 3-year 60,000 mile package, but on this EV version, the 75 kilowatt hour battery has its own 8-year 100,000 mile cover to 70% of capacity. In a medium range market where there really isn't that much to choose between the very best panel vans, buying decisions often come down to very small differences. If you've an LCV brand, the more of these you can build into your product, then the better placed it will be. And on that basis, the improved version of this 3rd generation Vivaro is very well placed indeed. It's now got a bit more visual identity, and the enhanced cockpit tech is very welcome. Of course, potential Vivaro customers convinced by Vauxhall's proposition will need to remember that in a rival Peugeot Expert, Citroen Dispatch, Fiat Scudo or Toyota Proace, they could have pretty much exactly the same product with a different badge. It's at that point, though, that the power of Vauxhall's huge UK dealer network might well sway the decision this Luton brand's way. A small but significant difference, but maybe, perhaps in this case, a crucial one.